Recorded live from a home studio in the Garden State, it's the Backstage Kingdom Podcast. And now, here's your host, Michael St. Gregory.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Backstage Kingdom Podcast. This is the first episode. This is the first real official episode. So if you're listening to this, you are effectively a founding member of this little experiment of mine. So hello and welcome. My name is Michael St. Gregory. I'm the host. And originally, I had started this as a YouTube channel, but I wanted to do an audio podcast so that it's something that I could put out regularly, a little more honest, a little less toilsome, with editing, a little bit more easier to produce, and something that I could be a bit more honest about and less, thinking in my head about, and then just put it out there, tell the stories, do the research, and have more fun with it. So, to understand who I am and what this show is going to be, you kind of have to understand a little bit about how I measure my life. And that's pretty much in eras of specific shades of polyester costumes that I've worn, whether it be in shifts on stages in different theme park-like environments, or the different means of entertainment that I've been involved in, as well as the specific lenses that I look life through, which is an intersection of high theater and theme park strategy. I like to see the sweaty, unglamorous reality of the people who make the magic happen. And like I said in the little teaser trailer that you may have heard before, I want to understand how it all works because it'll make me appreciate it more. Because I'll still get tricked by it. And I think that doing that together is going to make the experience even more magical. And we're going to talk about a lot of things on this podcast. We're going to talk about the subtle things, the more obvious things, the tricks of the craft, the trades, the lighting design. We're literally peeling back the curtain. We'll talk about the psychology of it all. But for this premiere episode, I want to tell you a story. And I want to take you back to a very specific date. So let's set the time circuits for a red letter date in history. May 20th, 2011. All right, so close your eyes. Unless you're driving, don't close your eyes. Please, I don't want you, crashing your car. That would be very bad for the first episode I make someone crash their car. So unless you're driving, close your eyes. Picture Disney's Hollywood Studios, but not the one you know today. Forget Galaxy's Edge, forget Toy Story Land, erase the Skyliner from your mind. We are back in the era where the sorcerer's hat, that giant blue, controversially placed traffic cone with ears on it, is still looming over the end of Hollywood Boulevard, blocking the view of the beautiful Chinese theater housing the majestic Great Movie Ride. The park smells like bromine and popcorn and asphalt. I was a cast member then. I was young, I was hungry, I was just married, and I was exhausted. And specifically on this day, I was incredibly exhausted. I stumbled in, quite literally, into the middle of a $4 billion business deal that changed the entire industry of entertainment forever. And I did it while I was looking for a bagel and coffee. But before we get to the bagel, we have to talk about the spectacle. We need to have a serious conversation about the Disney Parks blog live stream era, because that is primarily what we are going to be talking about in this episode. This was a golden age of the internet that I feel has been completely lost to time. We're talking roughly about 2010 to 2015. This was before TikTok, before Instagram Reels. This was before content creation was a career path. This was basically before what I'm doing now, before anything that you see on YouTube or anything that, any Disney vlogger or theme park content creator was doing nowadays, even with podcasts. In 2011, the Disney marketing machine pretty much just realized, hey, we have the internet. We can broadcast things. The thing is, they hadn't really figured out the polish of it yet. They didn't know how to monetize it, essentially. They didn't know what to do with this ability to promote. Essentially, they didn't have anything to lock it behind a paywall. So if anything happened at the parks, and literally, I mean like anything, they would host a multi-camera, live-produced broadcast all about it. New bathroom at Adventureland, live stream it. Dragon flies over New Fantasyland for like 15 seconds. Oh, you better believe we're live streaming it. A celebrity looked into the general direction of a churro cart. Get like every camera you can on it. We got to get this thing out there. It was a very weird experimental time. It was earnest. It was chaotic. It was fun as hell. And we ate up every second of it. It was like it had like public access television with a budget energy. And I honestly miss it. Like really, really miss it. So let's compare that to today. What do we have now? We've got the D23 era, We've got Disney trying to essentially be the Comic-Con, the convention that everybody has to go to. Everything is saved for the convention. You've got to buy a ticket, fly to Anaheim or Orlando or somewhere international at one of their locations. You sit in a convention center for maybe 6 hours, hopefully, without having to go to the bathroom. And then you watch Josh D'Amaro point to a piece of concept art that might get built in 2035. It's corporate, it's clean, it's a keynote speech, that's all it is. But in 2011, oh no. No, in 2011, they didn't do keynotes. They threw parades. Oh yeah. They hired stuntmen. They blew things up on Hollywood Boulevard just to see if they could. And the grand opening of Star Tours, The Adventures Continue, that was the Super Bowl of that era. That was the piece de resistance. That was the Citizen Kane of chaotic theme park marketing. And where was I in all of this? I was in an empty animation courtyard. Yeah, I didn't get to see any of it. See, I hadn't been hired in the second wave for Star Tours at that point. Now, for those of you who don't know what that means, let me explain second wave for the non-industry folks. When a new ride opens, there is the opening team. See, these are the golden children. They get the special pins. They get the photos with Mickey in the Jedi outfit. They are, as Qui-Gon Jinn would say, the chosen one. Then a month later, they realize they are understaffed. They realize that the opening team is burning out. So they hire the second wave. We're the reinforcements. We're the grunt infantry. We're the clone soldiers, essentially. When the other ones are teaming out, or burning out, rather. So, that's us. Now, that was not yet. At the time, I was working at the Magic of Disney Animation. And on the morning of May 20th, 2011, I was assigned to crowd control at the animation courtyard. I woke up almost missing my shift, which started at 6 a.m. I rushed over, nearly missed the bus that was assigned to us to get us there. Almost missed, clocking in. Was given a tiny disposable Bic razor by my coordinator, who thankfully was not a hard ass and allowed me to shave in private, at least to the point of cleaning myself up and making me presentable, although my face did kind of resemble that I got in a fight with a weed whacker, but all was well. Granted, I had so many bags under my eyes, I looked like I had been, stockpiling groceries. And many more analogies. By the way, do you know what it feels like to be in a theme park, arriving there at around, between 5 and 6 a.m.? It is eerie. The music isn't playing yet. The custodial trucks they're still hosing down the pavement. And it's humid. Florida humid. Florida in May humid. So the air is already a Newtonian liquid that you have to walk through. And I'm wearing the costume of a cherry red, white shorts, non-breathable material. But the Star Tours costume? Oh, that is a thing of beauty. I mean, the classic costume of the orange and blue flight suit that looked like something straight out of NASA in a retro-futuristic means. That even got even more updated to look even classic 60s sci-fi. Thing of beauty. Chef's kiss, for sure. I got essentially, an animation courtyard, what I could only call, catering on a Amazon Prime television show. If I was lucky. But anyway, in my walking Ziploc bag of a costume, I'm standing there, I'm tired, I'm sweating, and I'm a few hundred yards away from the really cool party that's happening. It's so annoying because it's all over there. I can't see it. I have to monitor the area to make sure that nobody's sneaking past. And everyone's gathering. And I know it's going to happen. But nothing is arriving yet. It's all just preparation. And the part that really stinks is that at one point, I have to be inside when the actual ceremony goes on, so I won't even be able to listen to it. But I make up for it. And again, I'll get to that in a moment. So the biggest party in the galaxy is going to be starting soon. And I'll break down exactly what happens in this ceremony. By the way, if you're near a computer, pause this podcast right now. Go to YouTube. Search Star Tours Grand Opening 2011. This stream is high art. It is camp. It is absolute lunacy. The premise of the event isn't just, Disney's opening a simulator ride. No, my friends. No, that is way too simple. That is beneath them at this point. The narrative premise, the quote-unquote story, so I'll backtrack even further. So when Disney MGM Studios, back when it was meant to be a working studio themed in this entire place, you in Star Tours were walking on set, a hot set, as it were, with the siren going, the little red light siren, signifying that you were entering a Star Wars movie. That was the idea of the original Star Tours. You were becoming part of your own Star Wars movie. Now, the premise completely changed. So here was the new premise of Star Tours The Adventure Continues. The Star Tours Travel Agency has physically opened a spaceport on Hollywood Boulevard. And in our opening ceremony, the Galactic Empire has filed a zoning complaint. That is the plot. A dispute over municipal permits enacted by space fascists. And it starts with a motorcade. Now, granted, it is not a friendly one. This is a military occupation. This is the 501st Legion out in force. For those of you who don't know, the 501st, they are the high-end costuming group of fans. These are the ultimate Star Wars cosplayers. They take this seriously, and for good reason. They are absolute professionals, and they are incredible. We're talking hundreds of stormtroopers, scout troopers, Imperial officers, marching in perfect lockstep. It is legitimately intimidating and impressive. And then they have what is known as the Scum and Villainy section. This is where the casting director just started pulling names out of a hat, and some of them, I wasn't even sure if they were real, and if they are actually a better nerd than I am, and that's saying something. So you've got Boba Fett, of course, that makes sense. You've got Jango Fett, sure. But then you have, of course, the one that we all know and we're all waiting to see, Zam Wesell. Come on. You know Zam Wesell, right? She was the shapeshifter in Episode 2, who tried to kill Padme with a worm, and then she died immediately. Well, there she is. She's walking down Hollywood Boulevard. You have Aura Singh. You have the Tusken Raiders. The Sand People. Come on, folks. Come on, catch up. It was like a Wikipedia article exploded onto the street. So the parade hits the stage in front of the Sorcerer's Hat. Seriously, you don't understand how much I hate that thing. But that is a whole other issue and probably a whole other episode. Anyway, Anthony Daniels himself, C-3PO, he comes out. And I got to give Anthony credit. The man is a professional. He is treating the script like it is Shakespeare in the park. And there are these characters that are, in universe type entertainment reporters, and it's all very like red carpet interview style performances. It's very tongue-in-cheek, and it's hilarious. I love it. You seriously got to watch the entire video. There should be a link in the podcast description for you to catch it. He's selling the 3D technology like his life depends on it. Seriously, he's treating everything so professional. Love the guy. Then the music shifts. Bum, 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 bum. You know the one. The Imperial March blasts. The crowd goes quiet, and out walks Darth Vader. And this isn't meet and greet Vader. Oh, no. This is James Earl Jones booming over the speakers Vader. This one has presence. This one has gravitas. He grabs the mic, and he shuts this down. He says Star Tours is a front for the Rebel Alliance. And let's be real for a second. I mean, he's right. The ride is literally about us smuggling a rebel spy to safety. Vader is not the villain here. He's a government official trying to stop a terrorist cell operating out of a theme park. That's hard to defend. So Vader plays his card. He orders a planetary-grade energy shield. Now remember, this is 2011. We don't have drones yet. We don't have advanced projection mapping. So the energy shield is represented by a giant red animated dome appearing on the Jumbotron big screen behind the stage. And visually, it looks like someone essentially put a red filter over a webcam. But in the logic of the show, the ride is sealed. And the actors playing the cast member employees of the ride have been imprisoned. Yeah, they can't actually use real cast members of the attraction, because then that means they would have to pay them more. So Vader says, "I challenge anyone to break this shield." So who answers the call? Who comes to save the day? Is it Luke Skywalker? Is it Han Solo? Is it a young, spry Obi-Wan? No. Suddenly, there is a commotion. We see footage of two individuals backstage. They're fighting in the backlot. They're wielding lightsabers. They're blasting and cutting through stormtroopers with impressive acrobatics. We can't see their faces. Their hoods covering them. Figures of impressive Jedi skills wearing the iconic brown robes, and then they come out from the wings. Now, I say robes, but okay, I'm going to be a little bit mean. They kind of look like bathrobes once they come out onto the stage. A little bit more like complimentary robes that they dyed from, Grand Floridian Spa. So then it's the moment of truth. They reach for their hoods when they appear on stage. The crowd holds its breath. Who are these mystery Jedi? But it's none other than Bob Iger and George Lucas. Now, I want you to really sit with this image. On one side, you have the CEO of the Walt Disney Company, a man who spends his days looking at spreadsheets and negotiating with shareholders. On the other side, you have the creator of Star Wars, the man who invented the Force. They're both wearing essentially polyester robes, and they're holding plastic lightsabers. They are both profusely sweating in the Florida humidity. It is the most absurd, corporate, wonderful thing I have ever seen. Well, I saw it afterwards. I was stuck inside a theater doing a show to no one because, well, no one was there. And honestly, the magic of Disney Animation Show is not nearly as entertaining to do for an audience of 0 people. Anyway, Bob Iger, or, I'm sorry, my close personal friend, Bob, again, we'll get to that later, looks Vader dead in the eye. He leans into the microphone, and he delivers the single greatest line in the history of corporate synergy. He says, "Lord Vader, prepare to meet your maker." You get it? Do you get it? Because George Lucas made him. It's a dad joke. It's a multi-billion-dollar dad joke broadcast live to the world. Oh, boy. Well, Vader, who is clearly unimpressed by puns, says, "Even you cannot lower the shield." So George Lucas takes over. The Maker steps up. He looks at R2-D2. Oh yeah, R2-D2 is also there on stage. He says, "R2, I think a little thermal detonator is in order." No emotion on this man whatsoever. Stop. By the way, pause the tape. George, baby, my pal, my buddy, you wrote the movie. You wrote the Bible, all right? A thermal detonator is a hand grenade. It's the silver ball Leia holds in Jabba's palace. All right, I know. I'm nerding out right now, but just bear with me, okay? George points to a massive 20-foot-tall ion cannon prop on the side of the stage. That is not a thermal detonator, George. That is heavy artillery. Okay, but nobody corrects George Lucas, right? Yeah. R2 beeps. The cannon elevates. Boom! Pyrotechnics go off. Smoke fills the stage. The red screen shatters. Vader realizes he has been bested by 2 billionaires in bathrobes. He turns to his troops and delivers the final meta joke. "We are wasting our time here. Set coordinates for the Anaheim system." He marches off to go open the ride at Disneyland, California. The confetti flies. The John Williams score blasts. History is made. So, that's what the world saw. That is what is recorded on YouTube. But that is not my story. The story happens about 45 minutes before the bathrobes came out. So let's rewind. It's about 6 a.m. I'm at the animation courtyard. My area is dead quiet. The guests are all lined up on Hollywood Boulevard for the parade. So I'm guarding an empty patch of concrete. 2 hours in, the fatigue hits me. I hit that 6 a.m. wall. I need caffeine. I need sugar. I need starch. I need something. And most of all, I need to sit down. So I get the signal for my 15-minute break. I'm so thankful. I start the power walk. I am on a mission. I am heading to the cast member cafeteria. So let's talk about the geography. This is very important. At Hollywood Studios, the cast member cafeteria is located directly behind the Hollywood Brown Derby. In fact, they actually share a wall. They share a kitchen. On one side of the wall, you have the Cobb salad and the grapefruit cake, the fine dining. On the other side, you have me eating a sad bagel. All right, it's not actually a sad bagel. It's actually very nice. It's probably one of the nicest cafeterias I've ever been in. I think it's also the nicest cafeteria in all of the cast member parks or cafeterias in general. If you are a cast member and you've been to better ones, you can let me know. BackstageKingdom@gmail.com. Let me know. Anyway, I continue. So I go to open the door that is by what is also the VIP entrance and exit, where other guest relation cast members bring VIPs in and out of the park when they're touring them or bringing them around. And that is exactly also just around the corner where the cast member cafeteria entrance is. So I'm walking there, more zombie walking, and I'm thinking about the precious coffee that is about to be in my hands. I reach for the door handle, and I pull it open. Walking out directly towards me are two men. But not just any men. One of them is Bob Iger, the CEO, the big cheese, the real one, man who signs my checks, or rather, his signature is on them at least. He looks like he just ran a marathon and then put on a suit. Then, on the right, is George Lucas, the flanneled one, the man who created my childhood. And most of my money has gone to his merchandising rights. I am looking at the faces of gods. In that split second, my brain completely short circuits. I forget my name. I forget where I am. My cast member training kicks in on pure autopilot. I snap to attention. I straighten my spine so fast, I think I pulled a muscle. I more than likely look like a terrified Buckingham Palace guard in a polyester, whatever they decided that it was. I don't see color at that point. I swing the door wide open, and I hold it. I managed to squeak out in a voice that was probably 3 octaves higher than normal, at least in my own mind. Mr. Iger, Mr. Lucas, have a good day. I didn't even say have a magical day. That's like the one thing cast members are supposed to say. Bob Iger stops. He pauses right in the doorway. He looks at me. He looks at my name tag. He gives this little knowing chuckle. He sees the sheer terror in my eyes. And he can see the fear. But he says, "Thank you, Michael. And you can call me Bob. Call me Bob." Like a Paul Simon song, he expects me to just call him Bob? I let out this nervous laugh, like the kind of laugh like you hear in a horror movie right before the killer strikes. And I say, "I don't think I can do that, sir." He laughs again, genuinely. I think it's the only time I've ever made a billionaire laugh legitimately. George gives me a small nod, like a satisfied nod. Probably the satisfied nod of a man who just ate a really good omelet, to be honest. And they walk past me. I have never seen them since. I should call them. So they head out, past the exit, and toward the stage, toward the robes and the lightsabers. And I stood there, at that doorway, for a full minute. I go to the cafeteria, I eat my bagel, and drink my coffee, in a fugue state. And then I text every single person I know and say, I just saw George Lucas and Bob Iger. To all of my nerdy friends, it was essentially a religious encounter. To anyone that was working with me, they were like, oh, cool story. Can you cover my shift? Fast forward. The year is 2012. It's August. And I'm no longer a cast member. I'm back home in New Jersey. Life has moved on. I'm sitting on my couch. I'm minding my own business. When my phone buzzes. It's a text from one of my closest friends. And she decided to panic me by sending me an article and then captioned it, Mike, what did you do? I freeze. I'm thinking, oh my God, did I leave something important? Did I accidentally burned a prop at a stage because we had done theater together? Like, what did I do? And I read, it's a link from the Hollywood Reporter. And the headline reads, the Walt Disney Company acquires Lucasfilm Limited for $4.05 billion. My jaw hits the floor. Disney bought Star Wars. It's impossible. It's huge. And I'm flabbergasted. I think it's cool. It's also interesting. I really was excited to see what could happen. I'm scrolling down. I'm reading the details. They've got the boring stuff like the stock options and future movies. Episode 7. It's happening. Oh, this is going to be amazing. And then I get to a paragraph halfway down the page. Bob Iger's giving an interview about the timeline of the deal. He's explaining how this massive acquisition came to be. He says, about a year ago, around the opening of Star Tours, George and I had a breakfast at the Hollywood Brown Derby. And then he goes on to say, over that breakfast, we had a handshake agreement to hand over the IP to Disney. He says the deal was effectively sealed right there, before the lawyers even got involved over coffee. I dropped my phone. I sat there in silence, and the memory of that morning rushed back. 6 a.m. The humidity. The door. The awkward laugh. Call me Bob. That's when it hit me. I realized I had opened the door for them at the tail end of that breakfast. When I saw them walking out, when Bob chuckled, when George gave me a small nod, they had literally just agreed to the biggest entertainment acquisition in modern history. There wasn't even ink to be dry on a napkin at that point. I wasn't just opening a door for them. I had held the door to the gateway for the Force to enter the House of Mouse. I was the first person, the first entity on Earth to see the new owners of the galaxy together after a silent agreement had been made. And suddenly, it all made sense. The pageantry revealed itself. When they walked out onto that stage about 20 minutes later, when they put on the Jedi robes, when they fought side by side, that wasn't a skit. That was a victory lap. That line, meet your maker, that wasn't just a dad joke. That was a receipt. Bob was looking at Vader. He was looking at the IP he just bought and saying to his face, I own you now. The energy on that stage, the confidence, it all stemmed from a breakfast. And I was the doorman who let them out of the room. If you can't tell, I tell this story a lot at parties now. It is my absolute go-to icebreaker. Hi, I'm Michael. I once held a door open for $4 billion. It usually gets a laugh, but honestly, it really is something I treasure. It's like the perfect encapsulation of what the Backstage Kingdom is all about. It's all about the fact that right next to the magic, right next to the Jedi robes and the smoke machines and the John Williams music, there is a real world. There's a world of handshake deals and coffee and bagels and tired 20-year-olds in polyester costumes just trying to get through a shift. And I often think about that moment. If I had taken my break 5 minutes later or earlier, I would have missed it. If I would have stopped to tie my shoe, I wouldn't have been able to been called Michael by the boss of my boss of my boss. But I was there. I was a fly on the wall. I was a doorman for history. And looking back, knowing what I know now, knowing that he had just secured the rights to Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Indiana Jones, and my entire childhood, I really should have just called him Bob. I'm Michael St. Gregory, and this has been the premiere of the Backstage Kingdom podcast. I have so much more to talk about in the weeks to come. Thank you so much for everything and for listening. Next week, we are going to talk about the Great Movie Ride. We're going to talk about why the Wicked Witch animatronic was the scariest thing ever built at the time, why the alien scene smelled like burnt rubber, why it was one of the most immersive experiences at the time. Now, don't worry, we're not always going to be stuck in MGM Studios. We're going to take a, good amount of time there because it is one of my favorite parks, but we're going to talk about Universal Studios. We're going to talk about Knott's Berry Farm. We're going to talk about immersive theater like Sleep No More. We're going to talk about Epic Universe. We're going to talk about all things live entertainment like Halloween Horror Nights. We're going to talk about the shows that never came to be, that you probably didn't even know exist. We're even going to talk about immersive theater like the Broadway Museum. Something that I'm sure some of you may know about, but may have never gone to. And in fact, there's so many things that are theater and theme park adjacent that I'm going to show you all about. And I'm going to be talking to other theme park content creators and other theater content creators on this podcast. So the best thing that you can do to help support it is to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And if you want to help this podcast grow, please give it 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify. Share it with your friends. Let them know. I'd love to hear it. Reviews always help as well. And if you give a good review, I'll give you a shout out on the next episode. All right? If you liked this little trip down memory lane, please, like I said, subscribe, leave a review, tell a friend. And always check who's walking out of the cafeteria. I'm Michael St. Gregory. This is the Backstage Kingdom podcast. I'll see you real soon.
You've been listening to the Backstage Kingdom podcast, produced and hosted by Michael St. Gregory. Music and sound effects by Epidemic Sound. For all things theater and theme parks, follow Michael everywhere online at The Backstage Kingdom. New episodes arrive every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever podcasts are available. I'm your announcer, yours truly, Pat Dooley, signing off and reminding you to have a magical day.